Come on, no one's gonna stop you right now. You with Chief Han. No one's stopping you, I promise you. Power works, I'm telling you in the world. You're right next to power, let's do this. You're going into power, here you go, baby. How you feel right now?
I feel good.
Well, we got to involve everybody if we're going to get something to work. There has to be ownership, and so we're talking to the kids today about mental health and youth and what things would help, you know, like with the stigma, help youth access mental health resources. So who better to ask than the youth? What would they listen to? What would encourage them to get the help that they need? I mean, we just recently had a Kennedy High School student hang themselves. I think she was 15 years old. So, you know, how many people saw her in distress before she decided that day to hang herself? And if she was able to access resources, she might still be with us today.
So when you say we need to find ways, what ways would you like to be put out there that you can go to?
Where I think it'd be best if those support groups come together to form a community. That way they are able to reach out.
A big support group of support groups.
Yeah, I like that.
A mental health day, being able to sit down and talk to people and have specialists come in, like, so everyone feels more comfortable when you have an open space.
Just having mental health specialists at schools is crucial because most kids every day are going to school, and that's one thing they all have in common.
Like suicide or whatever, because like it got to a point where it was like too much because you weren't able to like deal with it, you know what I mean?
And it's important to find safe spaces to do that, because when you deal with that pain and that hurt, it can turn into other things, because hurt people hurt people.
Necessity, because just like she said, she's at school 6 hours a day, we're at work 8 hours a day, and we're going through the same things. Our kids are experiencing the same things, but we're not having dialogue about it. And so
I want to put out there that Black Child Legacy has done healing circles before, and those healing circles are just what you're saying. We're coming together with all of our traumas and we're having those discussions. And it sounds like we need to expand that in these different schools so that we can assist you guys with moving towards your goal.
I think what you should do is set no limits on yourself. Set none. There should be no limits here. You know, Frederick Douglass said that, you know, he learned the value of education because he was denied the opportunity to be educated. They prevented him from learning how to read, and he still learned. And he became one of the great speakers in America because he educated himself. And everybody in this room, you can just hear you talk. You all can do it. You all can educate yourself.
I have a horse background in the academy. I have been born. That doesn't make sense. I was born in, I'm born and raised in Sacramento, California. That's my aunt, so she knows.
I'm born and raised in Sacramento, extremely proud of being from Sacramento. My mom was born and raised in Del Paso Heights, and her mother is Gloria Rowe, who actually has a tombstone in front of Grant High School for all the work that she has done in the community when it comes to education, when it comes to sitting on boards for churches. So when we say Black Child Legacy, I'm a Black Child Legacy.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
I'm Daryl Steinberg. I'm the mayor of Sacramento, but I especially wanted to welcome the young people and to say to you the following. You may think that you are a visitor to this city hall, but if you remember nothing else of what I say today, please remember this. You are not a visitor. You own this building. And I know you must wonder to yourself, what is my life going to be about? What can I do to make a difference? What can I do to help my community? And the answer for me, having gone through the years, is that you can do anything you want.
Law enforcement is kind of like, they're like kind of like our enemies. Like they're like bad to us because of what they have done.
Just building a relationship with the community while still enforcing the law and making sure everyone in the community is safe.
Having law enforcement go to the little community events, talking with the students, playing basketball with the students, those small things go a long way in the big picture of actually creating the community that we want to create.
You know how kids, when they see a police officer, like, oh, do you have a sticker? Do you have a sticker? My nephew doesn't do that. It's like, I don't like police officers. And I'm like, why? So when I'm at home, there's a police officer sitting like by this park, and I'm watching. There's kids playing basketball. They're just sitting there looking at them. I'm like, why don't you just go interact with them instead of just sitting there staring?
Because nowadays, most people are afraid of the badge because of their abuse of power.
They should try to make themselves look better to our community and like help.
To where you don't just see a badge, you see an actual person.
There was a study, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It was done by Harvard, and they studied 750 men over 75 years. And it was a study that was to figure out what makes people happy, healthy, and successful. So they studied these people, mostly men, and it all came down to having authentic relationships with people. This world of criminal justice, you might love it, you might not want to be in it, you might want to do like Brittany, or you might want to do like you, education. I mean, there's so much in our world to do. So just congratulations on today, but just find your passion, because then you'll be successful. So there's my message.
The building is one of the tallest buildings in Sacramento, and you're going to meet the new U.S. Marshal and meet 2 federal judges.
That type of change takes from the top down. We know if leadership doesn't buy in, then it's not going to work. Your officer said at the last VIP experience, hey, Chief has mandated that either you're in line or you're out of here. So how are you aligning the mayor's office and other big powers, influential listeners, how are you aligning them to understand that this has to be part of the DNA?
Well, I think when you get people that truly care about others and making life better for others, then if those folks are empowered to create the change that actually is successful, success is the proving ground for everything. So even people that might be not so convinced, when they see success happen, then they're convinced. And so I've already seen there's tons of positive things that have come out of Student Voices that we're doing today. And so I think people are starting to listen to Paris and the folks that run Student Voices, because the things that have come out of that, like VIP Teen Experience, are successful, and it's impacting people's lives. And when that happens, people listen and they start replicating that. So,
I'm Laisha Boyd. I'm the Chief Deputy with the U.S. Marshal Service here in the Eastern District of California, and this is the courthouse that I work in. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you our new Chief Judge, Kimberly Mueller.
Thank you, Chief. It's nice to have multiple women chiefs and wonderful digital versions of the Constitution, and that's our founding document. Now, neither Judge Nunley nor I were at the table when that document was written. You know, women weren't at the table, African Americans weren't at the table, people of color weren't at the table. But those documents still work for us today. Judge Nunley and I are examples of people that really believe that that system can work for all of us.
Students to sit in the jury box. So if you can call me or send me an email, I'll have an answer for you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. And what is your name?
Minnie.
Minnie, I'm
Nice
Laisha.
to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Thank you. Likewise.
Hey Minnie, so what were you asking him?
I just want to do the volunteer program, so I was kind of just following up on it to get some more information.
Wow, so you want to go check it out and see?
Yes.
All right.